Don't Leave by That AAA Battery, read by The Devil's Advocate 18. In the aftermath, Akutagawa and Atsushi finally reunited in a way that allowed them to discuss what held them in a chokehold, their memories of what had transpired as they fought not only for their lives, but for the world itself. Akutagawa had been freed from vampirism, with Atsushi there to witness as it broke. Atsushi had been lucky. If not for Bram's sword being removed and his own regenerative abilities, he too would have shared the same vampiric experience. But the greatest detective in the world would never allow that. Stop it, Rampo. You can't break the fourth wall. But that's so boring. If I give you candy, will you shut up? Anyways, the two found themselves sitting across from each other in the agency dorms. They'd finally made their return from one of the many missions put in place to restructure the city. There was much to do in terms of fixing up Yokohama and figuring out just what their organization's plans were. But now they had successfully passed out on Atsushi's couch for rest. They could finally talk in a level-headed manner. Well, as level-headed as one could be if you're traumatized as either of them and emotionally constipated as Akutagawa, which isn't a great standard. Atsushi gained awareness before Akutagawa, blushing heavily and taking a moment to admire the man. He couldn't help but stare in awe how Akutagawa was truly alive. Atsushi felt his eyes water, but he didn't want to bother the other after so much had occurred. He sniffled to himself, then moved away from Akutagawa. His own thoughts were too loud to notice the other man was awake. All he could remember was those moments before Akutagawa's death. Atsushi knew the man was disgusted by his touch. When Akutagawa noticed that Atsushi was trying to leave, he spoke before he could convince himself otherwise, grasping Atsushi's hand. "Stay. It's okay. But you don't want this. Not me here. We're Tiger. If I didn't, I would have left far before this." Akutagawa sleeping next to the other was an incredible show of trust. Even if the two were exhausted, Atsushi knew deep down that the man was stubborn enough to have left if he so wished. Atsushi knew he was right, but it didn't prevent his doubts from sinking in. Atsushi's eyes widened. He was still incredulous, but he looked to the other with hope. Even so. "You mean it? You're being serious?" "When have I ever been one to joke?" Atsushi knew it wouldn't have been a good time to state any times he thought could have been a joke from the other. He pondered, reflecting for a second, and then admitting to himself that Akutagawa really didn't seem to be genuine right now. Atsushi decided to sit back down, moving a bit closer than before. It was natural, seeing as Akutagawa allowed him the space, the shared warmth with each other, seeming to sink into each other as a life source. They stared at each other for a moment, observing every detail they could. With so much having changed, they just wanted something to stay a constant. "Akutagawa, I'm sorry, I didn't want to leave you behind. We're Tiger. Don't you dare act as if my actions are yours to bear. Not if I was the cause. You were worth the sacrifice. Don't you see? I never asked that of you. Never. I can't lose you." Akutagawa shook his head, cradling Atsushi's face with his hands. "Do you remember his words?" Akutagawa asked gently. "Whose? Fukuchi's?" Atsushi's face displays a pained anger. "That man is yet another curse upon my memory. How could I not?" He bites back. Akutagawa places his forehead against the other's. "He asked me if your life really meant that much to me." Akutagawa let his hand trace Atsushi's neck, then settle against the thrumming pulse point beating at his neck. He was right in thinking such. Atsushi let out a strangled noise. The combined soft touches and gentle but harshly vulnerable words overwhelms him. Why? Why would you place me before yourself? Akutagawa pauses, then slowly pulls back, looking Atsushi in the eye. No one but Fukuchi is to blame for my death. Atsushi feels the deflection in his words, a frustrating and yet all too encompassing one. How dare the other try to comfort him now, speak a truth he knows deep down. Akutagawa, He's cut off by a press of soft lips. It's almost a delicate thing. Atsushi is frozen before he can fully process it. The fact that Akutagawa is here doing this, not only alive but willing himself to kiss Atsushi, showing affection for him. Something clicks into place. The moment he decides to kiss back, it's such a natural thing to do, a comfortable place to be, a place he'd never known, a home. He raises a hand and places it on Akutagawa's cheek. Pulling him closer, he tries to put all he can into what's now a desperate passion, a reunion, and a discovery. Finally, Atsushi feels he can embrace feelings he denied out of thinking them pointless. Terribly, Atsushi is gripped by his own beating heart. How dare he love? How dare such a desperately doomed thing thump in his chest? But oh, how beautiful it is. When they finally pull away from each other's lips, but not their shared embrace, their arms are wrapped around each other. Atsushi lets out a sigh. He's nervous, scared of just how much he can love. Do you regret it? He whispers. No. It hurts him to hear Akutagawa say, yet he also understands, which makes it all feel more difficult to express how he feels. Why? Atsushi says quietly. Does it not pain you? Akutagawa is scared. He is weak, he is nervous, he is terrified. But not of rejection. No, that's something far too familiar for him to fear. Almost a comfort in how natural it is. He can't fathom the idea of ever being loved. Not when he's never known how to. Not when he's never been deemed worthy of it. Not when it's nothing he's ever known, not when he himself, a silent, rabid dog. He thinks the were-tiger's foolishness truly must be contagious, for theirs is the smallest bit of hope that outweighs it all. How stupid of him, how fragile, vulnerable, weak, to fall to his own heart. I could never reject loving you. You're so cruel, Atsushi says softly. He takes Akutagawa's hand and kisses his palm, bringing it to his face. How terribly unfair you are. Akutagawa smiles softly at Atsushi, a private thing. It's an image he swears he'll never let go of, a privilege only Atsushi is capable of witnessing. He is blessed by Akutagawa's love. I love you. Like a dog to a bone, I do. Akutagawa's eyes widen in spite of all, and when Atsushi kisses him once again, he falls into him, cherishing and vowing to never let go. He'll never abandon the grip he has on Atsushi, not unlike the one the detective has on his own heart. They're almost fated, destined in a way. They fumbled and grasp at each other, tug on the string that wires them together. Through this time, they're the ones choosing to sew together the pieces left behind. Just a man-eating tiger and a silent rabid dog. I think you're more of a cat, Akutagawa admits. Atsushi glares, sighing frustratedly, and throwing his hands up. He just had to go and ruin it. I'm a tiger! After a moment, a sound comes out of Akutagawa, and he stares at Atsushi's overdramatic expression. His pout is adorable. He just lets out a small chuckle. Fine. my were-tiger. Atsushi's face reddens, but he finally sinks in defeat. Akutagawa is impossible, he thinks. And yet, Atsushi loves him with all of his heart. This was Don't Leave by That AAA Battery, read by The Devil's Advocate 18. Hope you enjoyed.